I think we're live.
We are.
Okay, cool. I guess I'm doing the introduction. Hey guys, I was I was expecting Adam to do it.
Hey, I gotta keep you on your toes.
Week 10 of Masterclass, May 13th, 2015. We got a lot to cover today, guys. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but with introductions. Hey Adam, hey Marco, how are you guys?
Good.
Hey man, I'm good.
Let me go ahead and take the screen, and we'll get into the slides, guys. Hopefully, you guys. Let's see. Maybe I got to select it first. Are you seeing it now? And make sure the events page is working okay.
Hey, there we go.
And the events page is working good?
Good to go.
Okay. Guys, hopefully you had a chance to go through the training that was added. You know, last week we had kind of the regroup session for the live hangout or the webinar. And then I told you I was going to add the training for the funnels, outsourcer hiring funnels that we did because we had training on that in Mastermind on Thursday. And so I recorded it and added it to the training area. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to go through there. Those of you that are on a drip schedule, it will be available for week 9, the same time as the regroup session. Both of those are, you'll see inside the training it says week 9A and week 9B. So both of those will be released at the same time in case you're on a drip schedule and you have not seen it yet. But trust me, it's coming. It's worth the wait. It's really good. Those of you that had a chance or that are on, are seeing the live replays because you got in way early when we first launched, then hopefully you've had a chance to go through there because that's kind of like what we're leading into to today. Okay. So, week 10, what we will cover, training and managing outsourcers. This is the next logical step is after hiring outsourcers is how to train them and how to manage them, and then project management, which is part of the managing outsourcers anyways. And so we're going to go through a couple different steps and things that I've done that in learning and managing several teams of outsourcers now. A lot of pitfalls that I've through trial and error that I've had to go through to learn how to properly train and manage outsourcers, and some tricks that we've used and all that. And we're going to go through all of that, and then project management, and then some questions and answers as well. And I expect today that we'll have a little bit more time for Q&A. Hopefully, we'll find out here briefly. At the end of the webinar. So, training outsourcers, guys. The first thing that I would suggest doing, or when you before you even start to hire outsourcers and going through setting up the funnels and everything, you should already have an idea of what it is that you're going to be hiring for. I mean, obviously. So you should, I think this is really like a prerequisite before even hiring is identifying tasks that you're going to be delegating. Like, and what types of tasks should you be delegating? Well, repetitive tasks is number 1, time-consuming tasks number 2, or tasks that you don't like to do. Right, and just that you flat out don't like to do, guys. We all have to do a ton of things for our businesses, and a lot, not all of them are fun. And so, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then you should outsource that. Period. I mean, honest to God, because otherwise, the thing is this is work without a doubt, but it doesn't feel like work to me most of the time. Probably 90% of the time, it doesn't feel like work because I enjoy it, and that's important. But there are things that I don't like about running a business, and so for those I try to outsource them so that I don't want it to be a drag, something that I don't look forward to doing. So I try to outsource as much of that as possible. So, and repetitive tasks, guys, if it's something that's repetitive, then you can easily train somebody else to do that so that you don't have to do it. And if it's time consuming, obviously, because if you've got, our time is valuable and it's limited, and so anything that you can do to recover or regain some of your time to work on higher level stuff, you should absolutely outsource those tasks. Okay. Looks like what happened to that? That's weird. Okay. Well, training outsourcers, guys. So once you've identified some tasks that you want to outsource or delegate to others, and this is assuming you've already hired your virtual assistant or assistants, plural. Then what I learned, and here, as a matter of fact, I didn't have because my Windows was updating right before this webinar, I did not have a chance to prepare a link sheet. But let's see, it's John Carpenter's work system. I know I've talked about this in other groups, but I want to make sure that you guys have this as well. Okay, so work the system, or Sam Carpenter. I said John Carpenter.
Just in
My
case
bad.
you meant to show something else, we're still seeing the slide share.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I'm just going to post this, and if you can drop that on the
Sure.
the link, guys. Sam Carpenter wrote this book called Work the System, and he wrote it several years ago, but he's updated it a couple times. And I bought the book, and that's what really changed my my life as far as in my business. As far as I was pretty much a one-man operation. I had some part-time contractors that I used for certain stuff. This was just about a year and a half ago, and then actually, yeah, it was a little over a year ago, and I was doing most everything myself. Besides, like I said, I had a few outsourcers, and then that were just doing like part-time stuff for me. None of them were full-time. I didn't have any full-time outsourcers or anything like that. I was doing everything, and I couldn't make any more money because I had reached a point where I couldn't take on any more work. I just was keeping up with the day-to-day activities was all I could do, and I was working crazy hours. So I was actually on my way out to the Network Empire certification event when I purchased that book. So it was a year ago because it was in May. Sam Carpenter, I bought the Kindle version, so it was like $9, downloaded it to my tablet, and I started reading that book on the flight from Virginia to Phoenix, or to Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona, and it was like a 5-hour flight or whatever the hell it was, and I was reading the book, and like we're talking about going to a $20,000 SEO event versus a $9 Kindle book, and I swear I got more life or business changing information out of a $9 Kindle book than I did from the 20. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the Network Empire event wasn't good. It was good, but I'm telling you that this $9 Kindle book had a bigger impact on my business, guys. And so, what the book it says in a nutshell is that anything in your business can be delegated and outsourced. And I know that that's hard for a lot of us to imagine, because we think nobody can do what we can do as good as we can do it, right? Like nobody can do what I can do as good as I can do it. Well, that's total BS, because you could be the best at what it is that you do, better than anybody in the world, but you can still train somebody to do it just like you, okay? And in fact, I would challenge you, and I was in the same boat. I was incapable of assuming or imagining that somebody else could do a lot of the stuff that I did, because they wouldn't have the passion, they wouldn't have the put the effort in, blah blah blah. It was all bull, it was BS, and it was because I was being closed-minded, and I had hit that point where I couldn't take on any more work. And so when I started reading this book, it was like I got hit over the head with a 2x4. It was like this moment of clarity where I said, wow, this really makes sense. Businesses, most businesses, small businesses fail, right? And they say, like, what is it, like in 5 years 80% of small businesses are out of business, that sort of thing. And a lot of the times, like, it can be boiled down to not having systems, and it's because of the very thing that we're talking about right now, and that's trying to do everything yourself, and not learning how to delegate, and you just get burned out, okay? And that's the problem. And so this guy Sam Carpenter, in this book, he talks about putting out fires. Like, his business had become, and he talks about this, and it's kind of anecdotal, like he talks about his own business and in the epiphany that he had and in the steps that he took to start implementing the system, and that's really what the training is about in the book. And that's what I'm going to kind of convey to you guys today. I still highly recommend getting the book. It's for $9-10, whatever, for the Kindle. Recommend getting it. But essentially what it comes down to is, like, you get to a point in your business you can't do anymore, and you're more reactive instead of proactive. In other words, you wake up in the morning, you go to your office, or you sit down in front of your computer or whatever, and wherever the wind blows you for the day is what you do. You don't have any structure, okay? And it's usually putting out fires. You're playing whack-a-mole. It's like, and invariably, inevitably, stuff always pops up, and you've got to go fix this, and you got to take care of that, and there's a client issue over here, and there's a technical issue over here, and you still got to do some prospecting because you need to bring some more clients in the door, because you need, all this kind of stuff, guys. You know how it is, most of you here, I'm sure. So it's a matter of, like, putting out fires, and you become a firefighter instead of, a builder, a business owner. And that's really where I was too. And so when I started reading this book, it really opened up my eyes to say that, systems is how you grow a business. And all the most successful businesses out there have what? They have systems. And they have systems that they can train and duplicate. And they're duplicatable systems. They can bring people in. They have processes in place that can train those people and also monitor, like performance monitoring. We talked about that last week in the well, at least in the additional training that I added to the training area about hiring funnels, about having performance monitoring in place. All of that, those successful businesses have that. And so basically where you want to start is, you know, deciding that you want to hire first, figuring out which tasks it is that you want to delegate, and now we're at the step where how do we start to train our outsourcers to do those tasks? And here is where this slide comes in, okay? So learning the process of this, what he calls in the book working procedures, is you figure out a task. If you have a large task, something that's big, then you want to break it down into smaller tasks, like, you know, step 1, step 2, everything in a linear fashion. That's how you want everything to do. So I recommend start figuring out the tasks that you want to delegate and documenting the process to complete the task. Number 1, step 1 of that is to record a video of yourself completing the task. Narrate it, guys. Use screencast. I use Snagit for everything. Okay, it's $40 or $50 by TechSmith, same makers of Camtasia. Whatever screencast it is, software that you use, just act as if you're training somebody with this video on whatever task it is that you want to start to use to train an outsourcer for or to do, and record a video with you narrating it of the task that you want to delegate to somebody. Okay, then transcribe the video into step-by-step instructions. And, you know, I recommend that you do this on your own at first, at least for a few of the tasks, so that you can kind of get a process in place. Create a system for creating systems. You know what I'm saying? Like, in other words, you want to create the video first, and then you want to transcribe the video, and you can do it in your own words, and you can use Google Docs, you can do whatever, you know, whatever you want. Transcribe the video into step-by-step instructions. Literally, step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this, a very linear fashion. And then try to make as you're transcribing it and you're watching your own video of yourself completing the task, try to identify places that you can make them more efficient. That task, that process for completing that task more efficient. Okay? And what happens is, in doing so, and this is called, you know, creating your working procedures. What happens is you'll identify areas that you can combine steps or eliminate unnecessary steps, and you can make the whole entire process more efficient, which in and of itself, even if you weren't doing this for hiring outsourcers or training outsourcers, you can actually make yourself more efficient this way, because you'll start identifying areas that you can improve upon even in your own day-to-day activities, that you can now, just by dissecting them and documenting them out and putting them in that linear fashion, you can quickly identify areas that can be improved upon, okay, and made more efficient, which is going to give you back more time, okay, and you'll get more done. You'll be more productive. Okay, once you've eliminated those unnecessary steps, guys, then you want to go back and re-record the training video to match the written instructions. All right, and again, these are living documents, guys. These are not like a one and done. They're not set and forget. These are living, breathing documents. Like, these are they can be edited, they can be modified. Things are going to change. You're going to find over time improvements in every process that you have, and you're going to want to go back and edit them, that sort of thing. So once you start to create working procedures, just know that they're procedures that can be modified and constantly edited. They can evolve. Okay. So once you've re-recorded the new training video to match the written instructions, which are probably much more efficient now than they were the first time you recorded it, then you want to add the video to a training site, which, you know, like we call Outsourcer Training Portal. We have one of those, and we'll talk about all of that in a few slides. Or you can just use YouTube, guys. I actually recommend using YouTube, because YouTube loads fast. You put the videos on their servers. It's free. And if you're training outsourcers that are in, like, the Philippines and stuff like that, a lot of the times if you're trying to use your own streaming video sites, then they'll load slow and they'll buffer slow for people on slower connections. And so YouTube is actually just a good resource for all of that, because it will stream to them at a rate that their bandwidth will, you know, will allow. Okay, so you can put it on YouTube, but if you're going to put your training videos on YouTube, set them to unlisted, so that, you know, you're not making them public, and you know, the world can find your documented your working procedures. You want to keep that stuff in-house. Okay. So then we're going to talk, once you've created your training videos and you have your working procedures documented for that particular task, and guys, you just repeat, right? You rinse and repeat for every task that you want to outsource. It's the same step. This one slide right here is the magic. I mean, that's it. There's nothing more to it than that. Now, I say that, but it's very time consuming. And I know a lot of you that are dealing with time issues already because you're doing too much you're doing all the work in your own business. Where are you going to find the time to do this? Well, find it somehow. Work it in somehow. Like, I swear to God, when I started this, and I know I've told you guys this before, but when I started doing this, I literally said, okay, I'm going to give up 2 hours of sleep per night. And I'm going to work for 2 hours per day on documenting my creating my working procedures so that I can start to build a team to start getting, taking this load off of me. And I did that for, I don't know, close to 3 months. I worked literally night and day, and I gave up sleep to be able to work on these. And I was burnt out like crazy. I mean, I was like a freaking zombie, but I was making progress. And then I was able to, within a matter of 3 or 4 months, have start building a team that took the load off me. And now, again, my local client consulting business runs nearly on autopilot. Okay? Nearly on autopilot, and that's how I'm able to do this semantic mastery stuff and all the other projects that I'm working on, because that business supports itself by my outsources, which I trained using this very method that you see right here on this slide. Okay. So once you've got your training and your working procedures documented, and again, it's very time consuming, guys, but look, think about how worth it is to document your procedures, stuff that you constantly are doing yourself. You put in the time to do this one time, and then it will bear fruit over and over and over again, because now you have it in place. You can hire 10 outsourcers if you want and hand them all the same training, the same working procedure, and the same video, and all 10 of them can learn that task. Right? So as soon as you finish documenting one task, start on another. Hand it over to your outsourcer, and then start on another. And then, guys, you can either hire, like I mentioned in the training, I guess it was last week or 2 weeks ago, when you go to hire an outsourcer, you can either hire an outsourcer that's kind of like a jack of all trades, like have like one assistant, or if you're going to build a team, I recommend compartmentalizing the tasks so that you train certain outsourcers to do certain tasks, and you make your work like an assembly line, because they will become so much more efficient. Things that you thought that nobody could do as good as you'll see that your outsourcers can actually end up doing them better than you, because that's all they do. And they do it over and over and over and over again, and so they become very efficient, very proficient at it. Okay? And then you'll see that, then, especially if you have, just like, I mean, the typical franchise model, guys, there's the McDonald's, there's the fry cook, and then there's the person that puts the buns together with the the ketchups and the mustards and all that, and then it goes to the person that wraps it. You know what I mean? There's that assembly line, and you can do the same thing with your business. And not only that, but in that respect, you can also. I've actually had this discussion with some of our mastermind members or my private coaching students that say, well, yeah, but aren't you worried about if you're training outsourcers to do the things that you do, that they're going to become your competition? No, I don't. I don't worry about that at all. Number one, because if you set them up like an assembly line and train them like to do one specific task, then they don't see the big picture. They don't see all of the different parts of it. Number one, but even if I didn't do that, I've found that there's two. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to kind of go through that and spend some time on this slide, because it's very, very important, guys, to do this. And like, this is how you really you can start to build a real team and a real business. Instead of having a job, you can build a business. And this is how you do it, guys. It looks really simple when you look at the slide. It is time consuming, it can be painful, but it's so worth it. Okay, because then you can really grow a business. You can start working on other projects, whatever it is that your heart desires. Okay. So once the video, you've got the working procedures done, you've got your video, then you can add the training. What I recommend is adding the training to Trello or another project management app. We're going to get into Trello here in just a minute. But Trello, I think, is genius, and actually Peter Garrity is the one that turned me on to that. At the time that I had done all of those steps that you just saw on the previous slide, I had done everything in Google Docs using literally Google, the Microsoft, the Word doc, and I was using, indents and bullet points and, numbered lists and things like that. And it was very logical. It worked very, very well. I was creating all my working procedures on Google Docs so that they could be collaborated on real time. And then I was using Asana as my project management app at the time. However, it wasn't near as efficient as Trello, and you'll see that when I get into Trello in just a few minutes. And Peter Garrity was the one that introduced me to Trello, and it was like the light bulb went off in my mind. And when I actually switched everything over from Google Docs and Asana into Trello, my team's productivity, like we produced almost 30% more work in the same amount of time. So it was like, our efficiency went way up. Okay, and then also Trello can be used as your performance monitoring system when you're hiring new assistants, and we'll talk about that in a few in the next slide.
Just real quick, we're seeing you and not the slides.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I think we had a little hiccup there with the connection.
Okay, well, hopefully you guys are still seeing the actual presentation. I mean, like hearing it and everything too. That's my point.
I think so, but yeah, well, I'm sure people will say something.
All right, let's go back to the slide. Okay, can you see the slide now?
Yeah, let's wait a second. There we go. Good to go.
Okay. Well, you guys didn't miss anything. All I did was switch slides. So, excuse me. Managing outsourcers. Follow up after training has been assigned. So, guys, once you've created the working procedures, you got your video up, and you put them in a project management application. Again, I'll recommend Trello. We'll talk about that in a minute. And you've assigned the training to an outsourcer, a new outsourcer. You want to follow up with them like daily, okay? Because they're new and they're going to need some guidance, okay? And like I mentioned in the hiring funnels webinar from last week, which you guys will catch, can catch the replay since it was, with the mastermind group. You want to set management hours that you specifically delegate to or designate for managing your outsources, which includes communicating with them, additional training, that sort of thing, answering questions, and you want to make that a set schedule. And up front, when you first hire an outsourcer, you want to make set schedule that you do on a daily basis. It doesn't mean, like, for example, I know I've mentioned this many times before, but I do 3 hours Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. for my outsourcing team that I'm available for them via Skype. In case they need me, or if there's fires that need to be put out. That's when whack-a-mole happens, is during those 3 hours. Okay, if it happens, which most of the time it doesn't now. So that doesn't mean that for 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, that I'm managing my team. It just means that I'm available during those times to manage my team if they need it. Okay, so when you first start out, though, you're going to want to set up, even if it's just an hour a day, that you or a half an hour a day, whatever, depending on what your time constraints are, to manage your outsourcers and to be there to be there for additional training and everything else. Once they've gotten trained, and using Trello, like I said, you'll see that you can put an outsourcer through your working procedures via Trello 2 or 3 times, and then they don't even need it anymore, because by that point they're proficient. And then from that point on, you don't need to babysit them. And I recommend you don't babysit them, because nobody likes to be micromanaged. Okay, so don't do that. But up front, you are going to want to kind of maybe not micromanage them. That's kind of a negative, maybe a bad way to say it. But you want to be there to oversee them. Okay, and offer guidance, because they're going to need it up front. Okay, ask your outsourcer for feedback and daily reports. This is something that I require all of my outsourcers to do. If you caught the training from last week, the welcome email with the job offer that I send them, it says specifically in that I want them to send me a daily report, an email daily that says, what did you do today? And they answer that question. What problems did you face today? And is there anything that could make your job easier? And up front, when you first hire somebody, you'll get a lot of really good feedback. And what happens is they'll tell you, like, what problems did you face today? And this is your opportunity to find kinks or flaws in your working procedures that you can go back and edit, okay, to eliminate those problems from happening for the next outsourcer or happening again for the same outsourcer. Does that make sense? Is there anything that could make your job easier? Let them tell you. Do they need additional tools? Or, is there something about the way you've presented information that there is not jiving with them that you can improve upon? let them tell you so that you can make their job easier. The easier their job is, that you make their job, the more productive they're going to be for you, the happier they're going to be for you, the harder they'll work for you. Okay? So use that as an example. The daily report is great because when they send you the daily report, then you can review these daily reports and fine-tune the working procedures. This is something that you can do on a a daily basis up front, and then you can switch it over to more of a weekly transition to more of a weekly review. And that's what I do, guys. Like, I'll be daily for the first week or two, or depending. Every outsourcer is different. Their needs are going to be different. The level of attention that they need is going to be different. But generally, I try to have them trained and done within 2 weeks, so that then I can, where my daily analysis or review of their activities can be switched over to a weekly review. Okay, because obviously I don't want to be spending every single day managing a particular VA when I could be doing other things. So I do up front. I'll invest time in them up front, but I want to very quickly go to just a weekly review, and then I batch my reviews for all my outsourcers on in the same day, so that I can set up like review time from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. whatever. All right. Communicate daily with the new outsourcers. We just covered that. And then you may transition to weekly meetings after they are trained. And I recommend that you do that, because that allows them also feel like they've gotten more, they're given more leeway, more more freedom to kind of just do their thing and not be micromanaged. I hate being micromanaged, guys, so I don't recommend doing that. I don't do that to my VAs either. Okay? So project management, we talked about this. Google Docs. I love Google Docs, guys. I use it for everything. As you guys know that have ordered networks from us, we even deliver them as Google Docs. Spreadsheet, Google Spreadsheets. Like, everything that I do is in Google Docs, because you can collaborate in real time. I know Microsoft has a version of it, and I'm sure there are others as well. But I personally just like Google Docs because I just love it. And so I use Google Docs for everything. It's highly efficient when you're managing with teams and outsourcers. Like, each one of my outsourcers has their own folder in Google Drive that is shared with me, and all of the projects that we work on and all the documents for each project are in subfolders within that folder, and that's how we keep track of everything. Okay, very, very efficient that way. Trello, we're going to talk about that right now. I'm going to actually get into Trello and show you guys some examples of like the boards and everything else. But when you go into Trello, guys, you're going to want to set up organizations. So let me go ahead and log into Trello, and I'll start getting you guys set up here on that. I recommend when you sign up for Trello, if you haven't already, that you sign up and then log in, and then connect your main Google Plus account, because it just makes it easy to just log in with Google, and it connects to your Google Plus account, which will bring in your profile image and everything else. Because remember, you're going to be dealing with outsourcers, guys. You're going to want that, that personal. I prefer to have like my image showing so that they're looking at me. You know what I mean? In the when I manage projects and stuff like that. So I just think it makes it easier. But you can do whatever you want. Let me go down to the templates right here. All right, so we're going to go into here, and let's just use this one as an example. Or the live stream. Where's the live stream sites template? Right here. All right, so well, first of all, when you sign in to Trello, guys, you're going to want to create what's called organizations. Okay, and so let me click on the plus button up here, guys, and I'll show you what that means. Actually, let me go to my profile. So I'm going to click on here and go to profile. And you'll see that on the profile page, you have what's called organizations right here. And if you don't have any yet, you can create a new one. And all you need to do to create a new organization is click on the plus button. And then you want to go to create personal or create business organization. It's entirely up to you. To be honest with you, I'm not sure if mine's personal or business. That's because I have business class because I got Trello Gold. I'm pretty sure most of my organizations are personal organizations, but that's probably what you guys will see. But you want to create two organizations to start with, right? You're going to want to create one organization which is called templates, which will be your training templates, which are essentially just your working procedures. But then you're going to want to create another organization which will be the organization that will house the boards that you create, and this terminology will make sense in a minute, but the boards that you create for your that you're going to share with your outsourcers. Because the boards are interactive, like they're going to interact with the boards, and and that's where their activity will show. So you don't want to just create one organization and put your boards, create boards in there, and then give them to your outsourcers, because then once they've used the boards, then you got to do it all over again. You got to create it again. So,
Hey, Bradley, sorry, we're still seeing the slides.
oh, I'm sorry. Damn it! I'm glad you said something. I should have just.
Sorry about that. I should have caught that sooner.
That's all right. We didn't get far. I'm glad you said something though. All right, so back over here. All right, so for Trello, let me just sign out real quick, and then I'll sign back in and show you. Go to Trello.com, guys. Sign up for an account. Again, I recommend just logging in with your Google Plus account. So I'm going to say log in with Google. It makes a one-click login. It's really easy. Okay, from here, like I said, I'm going to click on my name, and I'll go to Profile. Okay, so from here, this is your profile page here, and you'll see I got a bunch of organizations because I use the hell out of Trello. But essentially, when you want to create an organization, like I said, you just click the plus button, and you'll see create personal organization. That's probably, unless you have a Trello Gold account, you're probably going to only see that anyways. And so my point is just create an organization, and you're going to want to create 2 to start with. Number 1, templates. Number 2, 1 for whatever task it is. Like I create, like you can see, like content management. There's curating templates because we're starting to work on the curating training course. As a matter of fact, I'll have my part of it done this weekend. You can see some of these other organizations in here for other projects and stuff like that I'm working on. So, but what I recommend is you always have at least 1 templates organization, because you're going to create boards. Let's go back to the slides for a moment, and we're going to, you guys, we'll walk through this in just a minute. You want to set up organizations, make 1 templates, and then add another organization for your VAs. And again, I usually will name the organization after what the task is or what the project is, one or the other. It's either going to be a task or a project generally. Okay. Then you're going to create the boards. Now the boards are where the activity happens. So, for example, if I go down here to the templates organization, you'll see that I have, these are the boards that I have available inside of this organization. Okay. Now, if I wanted to create a new one, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to say create new board, and we're going to give this one a name. So I'm going to call this one the Masterclass Demo. All right, and then you can select the organization. Since I'm already in this organization here, it's going to default to that. But from my drop down, you can see all the rest of the organizations that were on there. You guys would probably just have 2, right? You're going to have a templates organization and then whatever the task is. So I'm going to click create, and now you'll see, guys, once you've created the board, this is where everything is going to go. Your training, okay, or your project details, or both, okay. So this right here, what you're seeing here, is called a list. All right, and what you want to do is add additional lists to, you can see how it says add a list right here. So Peter Garrity taught me this, but to start off, we're going to have a to-do list, click save, then you're going to have a doing list, then you're going to have a done list, and lastly, you're going to have a technical support list. And let's see, I didn't spell that right. Technical support list. Okay, and so that's usually all I will have is those 4 lists, because that makes it nice and clean. And then what happens is each one of, now that you have these 4 lists, guys, you're going to create cards, and cards are going to be your individual specific tasks or steps within a task. Okay, so for example, right here you could say whatever step 1 might be. So step 1 might be log into or open Firefox. Now, there again, you can get really granular with this if you wanted to, or you could you'll see, because I'll just show you one of my boards that are already built in a moment. I just want you to get an idea of how to build these lists out. Let's say open Firefox is the first thing that you want to do, and that's a card. Okay, that what I would do is say open Firefox, clear browser for clear cache and cookies. So like I have open Firefox. Let's go ahead and change that and say let's just say we're going to just call this Firefox. And what I would do from inside of this is the actual card. So this is the card where you can actually the editing screen for the card. You can put a description in there and say this is training for how to clean Firefox and prepare for account creation, or Web 2.0 account creation, or something like that, guys, right? And we're going to just leave it like that. And then right here for attachments, guys, this is where I put the link to the training video that I already created in one of the previous slides, right, where it talked about the working procedures, okay, and then the training videos. Well, the training video, I put the link in here. So I would just put a YouTube link in here, right? So I'm just going to say http://youtube.com. I'm just going to put that in here for now. And now you'll see the training video URL will be right here at the top in the attachments. If you have anything else that you want to add for this particular step or task, then you can add those as attachments as well. Then what I like to do, guys, is I add what's called a checklist, and over here is where I break the tasks down into the individual step-by-step items, like what we talked about in the working procedures. So if you draft your working procedures in, like, Microsoft Word or in Google Docs or whatever, this is where you actually take and put step 1, step 2, step 3. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to say step 1, and obviously I would have and you could omit actually typing out step 1, but I would identify what the task is. Do this, right? Then step 2 would be the next test, the next task for that, to complete that task, and step 3, on and on and on. You guys get the idea. But the point is that now once this card is done, let's go ahead and close this card out. Now you'll see that there's one attachment, and there's three items in the checklist. And then I would go ahead and add the next account and say, let's say Google account. Okay. So from here, I would actually open that card up. I would say, this is where we're going to set up or create a new Google account. Click Save. I would click on Attachment. I would probably have a link to Gmail or to the Google sign-in screen or whatever, create an account screen, right? Then I would have my checklist that I would put in here, and I would say, step 1, go to the Google login screen. Step 2, upper right corner, click on the Create a New Account. Step 3, go to fakenamegenerator.com and collect details from fakenamegenerator.com to fill out the account creation form for the Google account, right? Step 4, create account. And step 5, go verify email. Blah, blah, blah. You guys get the point. But the idea is that once you have that done, now you've got these cards. So let me go show you what an actual completed board looks like, right? One that's ready to go. And then we'll walk through what these different lists are for. Okay, so let me go over there real quick. Go back to templates. And we'll look at the live stream site one. This one was updated recently. And for those of you that are in here that do have our Outsourcer training portal, this weekend, besides finishing my portion of the curation training course that we're launching or releasing soon, I'm going to be updating the Trello boards for the processes to reflect all of the changes in IFTTT. So that should be done on Sunday, by Sunday evening. Just for those of you here that are members of Outsourcer Training Portal, you should know that. Okay, these are only grayed out because this has been inactive for a while. These are because it's in my template, so they've been inactive. In fact, let me go do this real quick. It should make everything turn white. Apparently it didn't. That's all right. So anyways, guys, you can see that these are the different steps I have in here. Again, they're kind of grayed out right now just because they've been inactive. But you can see that I've got all these different cards in here for the different properties that we use in the live stream training. All right. And so what happens is the outsourcer, your VA, when they get this, they're going to come over here and they should grab the first task, the first card, and drop it into the Doing tab right while they're working on it. Then they're going to open it up. Let's actually just click on it to open it up. And this one's very quick because the first one is just, hey, watch this training video, right? So let's say they've done that. Now they're done. They're going to move it over to done. Now they're going to go grab the next card and they're going to drop it in there and they're going to click open, and you'll see that we have the site that they're logging into here, and then the Outsourcer Training Portal URL, which is where the training video is. And then we've got the different steps. And as they go through these steps, guys, they just click on these check boxes to check them off, right? So that you can see their progress. And this is what I was talking about, performance monitoring, guys. You can see with using Trello very quickly how they're progressing through the training. And here's where this comes. This is really cool, guys. And this is why I talked about why we have a technical help list over here. Is because let's say that they get to step number 6 on this card for Alternian 1, and they run into an issue. Let's say that they can't upload a picture. That's step number 5. Let's say that they were working on trying to upload a picture, and for whatever reason they were unable to do so. Then what they can do is just grab this card and go drop it in technical help. And if you have subscribed to the board, so you can see that over here in the menus option, guys, it's a drop down. If you have subscribed to this board, you will have a notification that this card has been dropped in technical help. It will notify you so you can jump in, and it's all in real time. You can jump in and actually take a look and see, by opening up the card, you can see where they stopped and say, okay, they're having a problem uploading a picture, and then you yourself can go log in and see if there was an issue. Maybe it's a browser cache issue on their part and they're unaware of that. If you're able to upload an image, then you could say, you could either comment below. There's comments on these boards, or you can send them an email or whatever. See, right here's a comment, and you could comment to them and say, hey, I think you were having browser cache issues. That often happens. Usually when you find, like, you're unable to upload a picture, blah, blah, blah. If you clear your cache, it will work. Try that and let me know if it worked. You know what I mean? Whatever it is that you found to be the fix. Sometimes it's stuff that it's not anything that on their end that they're going to be able to fix, so you just fix it anyways. But when you're done, you move that back over to do, right? And it's going to leave all of the check marks and any comments you made right on that card. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? And so you can actually, like I said, you can find out very quickly how people are progressing. And here's where it's really cool, is when you start to get multiple VAs and you're training new ones, and you can see, you can watch each one of them. Remember, guys, this is coming from my templates board, so like I wouldn't recommend that you make changes to your templates. You should just create template boards, and in every single one of then you make copies of those boards into the organization that you've assigned your VAs to, so that they can make changes. And all you need to do when you go to set up a new project or hire a new VA is just come in here and make a copy of this same board again, and it's good to go. Otherwise, you literally got to go in and uncheck all the boxes and move all the cards back and everything else, and that's a pain in the ass. It's a waste of time. But what's interesting is if you get, let's say you hired 3 new VAs, and you put all 3 new VAs on the same task, you assign them their own board for each, the same board, but they each get their own copy of their board, then you can literally watch and see which ones are doing better than the others, and who's performing better, who's going to be more productive or more efficient. And that's why I said you don't need, that's what we use as performance monitoring, is the Trello boards. Now, once somebody has gone through the tasks and learned the task, like what I do with my VAs is I typically require them to go through these steps twice, like actually moving the cards from one list to the other and going through that whole process of walking through and checking each box as they complete each step. I usually require them to do that in its entirety at least twice. And then after the second time, if they've done well and the output, the product that they've outputted to me, or delivered to me, is up to standard, then I tell them that they no longer need to use the Trello boards if they don't want to, or they can just use them, or if they want to use the Trello boards, a lot of the times I tell them, well, hey, you can just move the cards. You don't have to actually check all the check boxes. You can just open up the card, follow the steps, and then move the card from doing to done, blah, 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 so that they don't actually physically have to go in and click all of these check boxes and stuff like that, okay? And that just will save time. And then after they've done it, 3 or 4 times, I tell them that if they know it by heart by that time, they don't need to use the Trello boards anymore at all. And I'll know if they're not being productive because they won't be completing, sending me completed work, right? So I don't require my VAs to continue to use these boards over and over and over again. This is mainly for training until they've learned the process. Once they've learned the process, I don't require them to use it anymore. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? By the way, I want to show you how to copy a board. So because this is from my templates, right? I'm in my templates organization, so I really wouldn't want them modifying these cards at all, because I want this to be a template. So in order to make a copy, just in your drop down over here, it says copy board. I would call this one, so let's call it, this one is live stream sites template. So I would call it, live stream sites, and let's say Joe. Right? Let's just say my new VA's name is Joe, and I would say live stream sites Joe, and I would go ahead and add it to that whatever organization I had set up for Joe that I was sharing it in. So let's just say that I'm just going to put it in content management for now, just for demonstration sakes. And you'll see that it automatically switches it to a new organization. So now they can move this, edit this board, and the one that's in our templates organization will remain intact without being changed. Okay, and here's where I would add members. You can see that this is one of my content curators, Channy, and she's part of this organization, so she's available here. So this is where I would add her to the board so that she could access this board. Okay. From your organization page, I just want to show one more thing. On your organization page, so let's go over here to content management. That's where we just were. If you click on members, you'll see that the only member in this one board or this one organization is Chani and myself, and she was one of my content curators. So you can see that that's how you add members to the organization, so that whenever you add a board to that organization, they'll be available in right here from the drop down for add members. Okay. So guys, there's other training on Trello that you can use Trello's own training if you're going to be using Trello, or join us in the mastermind. There's some training in there. The Outsourcer training portal is something that we have where we can train. We've got boards and everything set up for a lot of the tasks that we do for, like IFTTT SEO Academy, live stream sites, Advanced RSS Academy. We have another one that we put together for domain authority boosting. It's kind of like a like another training series that we put together just a couple weeks ago for mastermind members. That's also available inside of Outsourcer training. So we have that as well. All right. Just remember to subscribe to the board so that you get notifications, at least up front when you're first training some outsourcers. Once they've got the habit of it, you don't need to anyways, because they're probably not going to be using it. All right. So, like I said, with the Q&A, guys, that was pretty much it for the presentation. I just did want to mention once again that the Mastermind members we have the Mastermind Plus, we have Mastermind Plus Outsourcer Training, and then we also have Outsourcer Training Only, where basically we have all the Trello boards set up for all the processes to create the IFTTT networks, to do the live stream sites, to do the Advanced RSS Academy stuff. Again, we added the domain authority boosting training to that, which is kind of like just another way to reinforce the brand and build more authority to your networks and your persona or your profile or your business, depending on what you're building it for. And we're going to be adding some additional training coming up. The curation training, the curation course that we're coming out with within the next couple weeks is actually going to have curation training boards as part of the Outsourcer training portal, so that you can train VAs to do your curating for you. So it's not something that you guys have to do. That will be included with Outsourcer training. And also remember that if you join the Mastermind Plus Outsourcer training, you get Masterclass included as part of it. So we would cancel your payments for Masterclass. This is not a pitch. I'm just letting you guys know. You guys have seen the power today of what Trello and training outsourcers can do, and we've got a solution for that. And one last thing I want to mention is that we had just started last week inside the Mastermind called an Affiliate Accountability Group. We're meeting weekly. Our Mastermind, we have bi-weekly webinars, which means every 2 weeks. We have our Mastermind webinars, okay? But we also started an additional 1 hour per week affiliate accountability group where we're setting up affiliate funnels and going through affiliate training together as a group. We're holding each other accountable. And we're doing that every Thursday on alternating schedules. One Thursday it's in the morning, one Thursday it's in the evening. I just want to let you guys know that anybody that's interested, I know that Masterclass has been more around local stuff, but we are doing affiliate training and holding each other accountable for affiliate funnels and campaigns inside the Mastermind. So that might be anybody that's interested in learning more about affiliate stuff. That might be a good opportunity for you to come in and learn. All right. One more thing I want to mention, and then we'll answer a few questions before we wrap it up, is look out for a new survey, guys. We sent out a survey several weeks ago, which is why we did the regroup session last week, and I answered some questions from that, but we had a very limited response on the survey, and I would like to have Adam's going to be sending out another survey that we want to ask you guys what you want to see coming up, or what you're still struggling with, or what you want to see gone into deeper that we've already covered, for example. Please take the time to be looking out for that. We're going to send it out to you via email, and please complete that, because it's going to shape what the next several lessons are going to be. Next week we're going to talk about scaling. But after that, the following week, I want to start doing some of the training from the survey responses. Okay, so please participate. It's only going to help you and shape the course of the future training for this course.
Hey, Bradley.
Yep.
I just want to add real quick that yeah, we do concentrate a lot on local, but it's because it's so much easier, so much simpler, and it can get you making money real quick. But the new course that I'm working on is going to work just as well, whether you're trying to rank locally, nationally, globally, whatever it is that you're trying to do, it's going to work just as well.
Right. Yep, that's right. And so, guys, like Marco just said, we've got a lot of stuff coming out that over the next several months. We've got plenty of new trainings coming out, guys. Like lots of new trainings coming out, new courses. We've got software coming out. We've got the plugin, the premium plugin that's going to be coming out. Like over the next few months, it's going to be like just thing after thing after thing that we're coming out with. And want you guys to know that, once again, as a mastermind member, you guys get, mastermind members get special privileges. They get discounts on anything over and above $300. Anything below that, they get that included. So, again, I just encourage you guys to do that because, to join that, because you also get access to like the Outsourcer training portal. If you're not ready for that, don't do it yet. And, I recommend that for everybody, even people that are mastermind members and Outsourcer training portal members, that if you have everybody has specific processes in their business regardless. Okay, there's things that we do in our business of which we've provided the training and the and the Trello boards and stuff like that for those processes, but every one of you have your own processes too. And so now you know how to set up your own training and your own project management. Do this for your own processes, and I recommend you do it. I mean, even if you're using our stuff, there's still going to be other stuff that you can apply these principles to that will help you to grow your own business and outsource a lot of these tasks. And so I recommend that you do that. All right. Adam, questions? Do we have anything that I need to address?
Nothing posted. Nope. So I think we're good to go. We're gonna, I think, wrap this one up unless you got anything else.
Jaunty says he will look out for the survey and participate. That's awesome. Thank you, Jaunty. Yeah, guys, seriously, those of you that are hearing this, please participate because that's really going to shape what we do over the next several weeks, guys. I've given you training from. We're going to talk about scaling next week, which I think is going to be another really good training. And we've gone from inception all the way now through building a team. And now scaling, which we're going to talk about next week, and that's what a masterclass set out to be. Was exactly that. Okay, and so beyond that, I want to continue this series, guys. But now I want to get into more about what it is that you guys want to go over more in depth, or that you need training on that I hadn't thought of, or maybe it's something that I glossed over that you want to go more of. New stuff that's coming out also. We can get into more like doing, instead of just video, a lot of this has been video based, like YouTube stuff. We can get into additional like websites, optimization, stuff like that. It's not a mastermind. This is not mastermind. That's where we get into all our really nitty gritty ninja stuff, and that's why I encourage you guys. Remember, the whole point of this masterclass and total transparency, guys, was to help you guys get from not making money to making money, or from making a little bit of money to making more money, or from working all on your own to working with a team. This was intended for it to be a stepping stone to the mastermind, right? And so again, total transparency. I want you guys to graduate into the mastermind, which is the more advanced, and we got more business training stuff in there as well. And so I hope that you guys come and join that. But for those of you that aren't ready for that yet, or you can't afford it yet, then get profitable. Follow the instructions that we're giving you. Get more profitable. Come join us there. But we're still going to keep this course going on because this is our lower tiered training course and coaching course. And so I want to keep this going. And so I recommend that you guys participate in the survey so that we can deliver what you guys need. And if it's crossing a line into mastermind territory, we're certainly going to let you know. All right? So, okay. Well, it's 5:57. We were able to wrap this one up on time. That's pretty cool.
Alrighty.
Anything else?
Nope, I think we're good to go.
Awesome. Okay, guys. If anybody has any additional questions after this, just post them in the community. You can always post back on this events page, by the way, if it's something specific that you don't want the rest of the Facebook community to know about. If it's something that you think isn't sensitive and can benefit everybody else, then just post it in the Facebook community. And other than that, we'll see you guys next week for the Scaling Your Business presentation. So.
All right.
Okay. All right,
Good
guys.
night.
See you.